Hi guys, welcome back to another Project Life video. Today I am going over my week 7 for 2016 and I am definitely far behind. I do need to get some catching up to do, but that's okay. With spring and summer coming up, it's really hard because I have a lot of outdoor gardening projects and things to do, and that is probably my second favorite thing to do besides scrapbook. So, as long as I'm enjoying myself, that's all that really matters. So if I'm a little far behind, I will catch up when it's a rainy day, which actually it's a rainy day today and maybe tomorrow. So instead of maybe playing out in the garden, I may be sitting down doing some scrappy stuff, which is good. But anyway, back to the layout. So for this one, I am using two of the 3x4 cards that I actually had used from the previous layout or the back of the page. So I had to figure out a creative way to connect the two cards because I really like the two cards together. So what I did was I just took a piece of scrap white paper and stuck it down so that I could connect it, and then I put the doily on top of it. And you can kind of see the piece of scrap paper that I put down under the doily, but that's okay. You kind of get distracted by the other embellishments on top, so that's okay that it kind of shows through. But I found that that was probably the easiest way. I think what I probably could have done, now thinking back, is probably punched a circle and it wouldn't look as obvious because you wouldn't have the straight lines, you would have a circle and it would kind of blend in a little bit more with the doily, but like I said, it's okay. So I just am layering a couple different, what is that, like tags, or not, like labels, sorry, labels here, and I am using these tile stickers to put week 7. They're from Simple Stories, and I'm actually going to change this up in a little bit. So I'm going to actually remove those tile stickers and handwrite week 7. I thought that it just wasn't filling in the space right, so I will change it up here after I do a couple other things. So right now I'm just putting the letters Let's for Let's Start Week 7. I had that little flare badge. I haven't used flare for a little bit, so I wanted to get some of that out of my stash. So I popped that up with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals because it's just perfect dimension, or the perfect depth to fill in the back of the badge without adding any more bulk to the flare badge. Excuse me. So here is where I'm going to write out week 7. And I'm just testing that pen to make sure I wanted to use that color. I wanted to make sure it kind of mimicked the little dots and things in that left piece of floral paper. So I'm just going to write out week number 7. And then I'm just going to do some of that faux calligraphy or faux brushstroke by adding or thickening the downstroke so it looks just a little bit more fancy. I'm not very good at doing brush lettering, so this is a good way to fake it if you want to do brush lettering. And I'm just kind of tidying it up a bit. And these are just some Papermate Flair pens. I really like these pens. They're a felt tip, but they still have some control. They're not like really fat. But I like writing with the the felt tips a lot. So I'm just going to add some splatters. It's the Heidi Swapp Color Shine in Mustard. So I'm just going to put that down here and just add a couple larger drops, and then I will put this to the side to dry. And I like how that turned out. The one thing, when you do put the splatters on the doily, it does seem or tend to bleed a bit, but that's okay. I kind of like this overall look, and I like how it brings that gold or that yellow color throughout this whole entire card. And I think it helps tie in that floral piece with the little blue piece on the right hand side. So here is a picture of a scrapbook page I was working on at a crop that I was at this particular week. I'm just going to add this card over here. It reminded me of my daughter. Oh, this is a creamy brown chalk ink. It reminded me of my daughter. It's elementary school flashcards. She was little, or not little. This is my daughter. I'm sorry. This is me in this picture. And it reminded me of, back when I was a little kid. So I used the flashcard, and I thought it just didn't look quite right. I wanted to separate it from the background a bit. So I added that creamy brown chalk ink. This little speech bubble looks like a piece of like graph paper or paper you'd use in school, so that was perfect. So I'm going to put some of the color shine on here, and then I'm going to put that little speech bubble in the top left, and then I have a little kind of tealish aqua color duck that I thought worked well because I was in a little pool and ducks like water, so I thought it worked. So I just staple that down, and then I'm going to add the little ducky right there. And I'm just kind of play with it so it doesn't cover up too much of the number 4, and that is it for that card. So here's a close-up. next is a picture of my daughter getting a dental checkup, and I am going to put some washi tape down to add some yellow to it, and then I'm also going to write on this label that says another cavity, because unfortunately they found another cavity. So I am just doing some fancy lettering to kind of mimic this style of this banner, and I thought the white looked good, and there's some lines in the back to shadow the back part of the ribbon, and so I'm just going to mimic that with adding the lines in those open little spaces that I have on the letters. And I'm just using a Jelly Roll pen. I've liked this one, and I also use the oh, what's it called? There's another one that's really good that I like, but I always end up having to throw them away after I use like a quarter of the ink, and it seems like it stops flowing. Oh, the Signo white gel pens, those write fantastic, but they always seem to dry up on me and not last as long as the pen, and they're expensive. So I've been using these Jelly Roll pens for a little bit now, and they've been working pretty well. They don't really write on photos like as well as the Signo white gel pen does, but it still looks pretty good. So there, I just add that on, and I add that yellow stripe of washi tape, so it looks good, and it mixes in with the other yellows in the layout. Here's a picture of my daughter. She was working on Google Slides at school, and her teacher took a picture of her and sent it to us. And so what I'm going to do is take this little pocket or piece that makes it look like a pocket, and I'm going to add this A+ because it is a picture of her at school. The A+ was kind of blending into the background, so I wanted to kind of make it pop up a little bit more or have something to anchor it. So I added the yellow washi tape, I added the little apple on the left, and this blue arrow to point to the screen to kind of show that's what she's doing. And then I'm adding a little star just for a little edit extra, because stars seem to go with school for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this scrap piece of white paper, and I'm going to trim it out so that I can use it and put it in the pocket, so I can add some additional journaling about my daughter and how she's doing in school and all that. So I'm going to just play with that, trim it up, and then I'm going to add a tab at the top with that same yellow washi and write the word pull, and then that way you know there's something in the pocket that can be pulled out to read. So I'm just going to test that, make sure it's going to fit, and it looks good. And so, like I said, I'm going to add the washi there. And my daughter's doing really, really well in school, so I wanted to add some information about where she is reading level and what she's enjoying in school and what her favorite subject is and just all that kind of stuff, because I'm sure, you know, as the years go by, I'm not going to remember what her favorite thing was in the grade she's in now. So here I'm adding pull with a Sharpie marker, and then I'm going to use the same marker to do the journaling, and I'll fast forward here so you don't have to watch me do all this journaling. And then I'm going to end up taking this little journaling card and sticking it in the pocket and calling this particular one done. Oh, and I was having a little bit of trouble with the washi tape getting stuck on the edge of the pocket. So here's some close-ups. So next I am going to work on a card with a picture of her at the bookstore. So I'm just going to take this little green bracket that I had in my stash and some of these Dear Lizzie, what are they, tile stickers, and just write books along the edge of that bracket. And the picture does look dark here. It's not quite as dark in real life. I think it's just my lighting. But I don't really play with the editing of my photos, especially for Project Life, because I just kind of let it go the way it is. I want Project Life to be very, very simple, and I think I've mentioned this in videos before, but I want Project Life to be really simple, so I don't want to do a lot of editing of photos. I kind of just take them, put them in the Collect app, and then move on and print them. So just to keep everything simple. And I'm adding this little heart to this card, and then I'm just going to add some splatter, and I'm going to keep this card very, very simple. There wasn't a lot of things I needed to do with it because it had a big phrase and I didn't think it needed a lot of extra. So that's that card set. Here is a picture of my daughter, and sorry I'm a little off camera with the picture, but here's a picture of my daughter at an ice cream store eating ice cream. So I'm going to take this little kind of acetate banner, and I'm going to glue it down or staple it down, and then I'm going to add a butterfly on top of that staple so you can't see it, and I'm just going to glue that down with some of my dot adhesive. And I'm just going to put that over there using my tweezers just to get it perfect so my fat fingers aren't in the way. And that card is done. I think that butterfly and the banner is both from a Studio Calico die cut pack that I've had in my stash for quite some time. Here is a picture of or not a picture, but a little house, and I'm just going to cut the house out, and I'm going to anchor it with some more of that washi tape so that it has something to sit on, kind of like grass. Although I know grass doesn't look like this, I think it works, and it brings that color again throughout the layout. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but this is a 1.5 page spread. I have a full 12 by 12 on the left, and then on the right is 6 by 12 piece, because I didn't have quite enough pictures for two 12 by 12s. I'm taking these Snap Simple Stories phrase stickers and adding it to the house and then over on the home, and then I will end up adding some spray mist in the Color Shine Mustard again to the home card. So I'm going to keep those pretty simple, but I am going to add some splatters here in just a little bit. I think I'm going to move to another card and then come back. Here is a picture of my kitty cat and a doggy, and I am just taking this banner. Again, I think it's from a Studio Calico die cut kit, and I'm going to add the word lazy with these stickers that I used from the title card. Again, bringing some of the elements from one side of the page to the other so it has a cohesive look. And I'm going to write lazy and then glue this down, and I'm actually going to glue it down with my dot runner, and I'm kind of bummed that I did that. I probably should have just used a Xyron or liquid glue, because you can see the dots, which drives me crazy. So I'm not sure. I think I was just being lazy and I didn't pull out my Xyron because it was like buried behind something. So don't be lazy, don't be like me. If you don't want to see those dots, make sure you're using something that has adhesive all the way across the back. So here I'm just putting that little bit of washi tape, and then I am gluing this a vellum star, just with some liquid glue. And the liquid glue, it covers the entire back so you don't see the glue. And that worked perfectly there. And now I am working on this card. I'm just going to add some mist on here first. I'm going to come back to this card in a second. I'm going to add it to the home card. And then the blue card is going to be my last card. I'm just going to stack up a bunch of little different die cut elements and things like that just to make it kind of a card on its own. This is a label cut apart sheet that I got from the Scraptastic kit, from one of my scrapbook kits. That chevron is just a piece of paper that I got in a Scraptastic kit that I just trimmed out. I think it is from October Afternoon. And then that little heart camera is from the Simple Stories collection, and that piece of acetate is also from one of the Studio Calico sets. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I have a lot of still photos at the end here. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you have any questions about anything, any of the product, please leave them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I guess that's pretty much it. Have a great day, and I hope you're enjoying the weather outside if you are living in an area that is warm. Thank you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.